In this lesson, we'll create our first controller to handle requests to the homepage and serve a simple HTML file. But before we start coding, let's take a moment to understand the basics of Spring MVC, which is the foundation of how we handle web requests in Spring Boot. Spring MVC stands for Model View Controller and is part of the Spring framework that helps us build web applications. It provides a clean way to separate different parts of our application, making it easier to manage and scale. Model is where our application's data lives. It represents the business logic and is usually connected to a database or other data sources. In Spring Boot, the model can be a simple Java class. The view is what the user sees. It's the HTML, CSS, or JavaScript that's rendered in the browser. In Spring MVC, views can be static files or dynamically generated using tools like Timeleaf. The controller is like a traffic controller. It handles incoming requests from the user, interacts with the model to get data, and then tells the view what to display. Let's see this in action. So back to our project. Here in the Java folder, inside this package, let's right-click and add a new Java class. We're going to call this Home Controller. Now, IntelliJ is asking if you want to add this to our Git repository. I'm going to select Don't Ask Again, so we don't see this in the future. Let's go ahead and add this to our repository. Okay. Now, to make this a controller, we have to decorate it with the controller annotation. So here we type an @ followed by controller, and then press Enter. So this annotation is defined in this package, org.springframework.stereotype. Okay. Now, I believe I covered annotations in my Java course, but very briefly, an annotation is like a label or a tag that we add in the code to give instructions or additional context to the compiler. We can apply them to classes, methods, fields, parameters, and so on. So in this example, by adding this annotation to this class, we are telling Spring that this class should be used as a web controller for receiving web traffic. Now, inside this class, we add a method, public, string. We can call this method anything we want, but I'm going to go with index. Now, when we send a request to the root of our website, we want this method to be called. To do that, we have to apply another special annotation here, that is request mapping. Now, this other annotation is defined in this package, org.springframework.web. This is part of the web starter dependency that we added in the previous lesson. Okay. So we add this annotation and then give it an argument. That is a URL pattern. Here we can type a / that represents the root of our website. So when a request goes to the root of our website, this method gets called. If you want to receive traffic at a different endpoint like about or contact, we can change the argument here, okay? So let's go back to the root of our website. Now in this method, we return the name of the view that should be returned to the browser. So we return index.html. Okay, now we need to create this view. Back to our project. We go to the resources folder. This is where we add non-Java files. Now here we add a new folder called static. And inside the static folder, we add a new file, a new HTML file called index.html. Now, in this HTML file, inside the body element, we type h1 tab, and inside the h1 tag, we type hello world. So this is our view. Now, we're not going to cover models in this lesson. We'll cover them later in the course. Next, I'm going to show you how to build and run this application.